In this video, we'll explore old menus of early America. Welcome. Lunch was served from 12 to 2, dinner from 6 to 8, bouillon with spaghetti, filled beets, ketchup and chili sauce, apple butter preserves. And for the main lunch course, you could have minced ham with scrambled eggs, breast of veal with rice, small steak, sauté with parsley butter. Cold, you could have roast beef, boiled ham, salmon, pickled pig's feet. The main course for dinner could be Japanese crab meat au gratin, tenderloin tips with mushroom, boiled star bacon with new cabbage, roasted leg of veal with dressing. I'm not sure what postum is, but the drink pretty simple. Tea, coffee, cocoa, milk, postum, or iced tea. And here's a quote by Elbert Hubbard. "Truth is a useful idea." Here again, this strange stamp. Let's go back further. Let's go way back. Oh, French Lick. We've looked at French Lick in past videos. The Springs Hotel in Indiana. Unbelievable. Look here in Tacoma, Washington. Annual banquet and dance given by the Internal Revenue Employees District of Washington. Now this is really weird. Here we have a mummy. 1923, Tacoma, Washington. But here we see a menu for French Lick in 1920. Thursday. So it's like they printed this just for the day. September 23rd, 1920. Guests are not required to wear spiked golf shoes in the hotel. Guests using the water should avoid uncooked fruits and raw vegetables. And dinner served for a couple hours here. 6:30 to 8:30. We could have chicken à la Sainte-Monde, something with olives. Consomme en tasse, hearts of celery. Baked white fish au vin blanc, or white wine. Potatoes genevoise. I don't know. Next section, we have chicken livers en brochette, sauce provençale, compote of pears, or like a jam would be a compote. And this is what I was talking about in my last video. Granted, this is 1920 here, but we'll go back to 1850 with some of these menus, and almost a French menu. I cannot imagine why these major cities had French menus, to where I have a difficult time even understanding what this food is. It's just very fine. And essentially it is of a French influence, is what I found. And it's not until the World's Fairs, as I've discussed in past videos, especially the one in St. Louis, where a lot of what we call American food is introduced at the World's Fairs, and maybe taking 20 to 50 years for these foods to really sink in and become a staple in the American diet. Things that we still use today were absolutely fascinating products introduced 100 years ago and now being very American processed food, as we recognize most of these labels that were rolled out at the World's Fairs. So here we have ice cream, coconut pie, roast duck, stewed apples. So you see, even like they said down here, they were always heating their fruits. They said to avoid uncooked fruit and raw vegetables. Really interesting. So we're not going to see any such raw things on this menu. Except here, maybe this romaine and orange salad. These will be fresh. It's very interesting. French Lick. Here, the Bismarck Cafe, 1912, San Francisco. 1912. So the city still being in its recovery phase. How interesting now. We're going to be on the other side of the country. And the menu just starts out with beef. So this is served after 6 p.m. So this will be a dinner menu from the Bismarck. Straight up beef, and then all these different kinds of beef. Really a lot. Casserole with potatoes, rinder, breast. I'm really straining my eyes here. Horseradish sauce and potatoes. Roast rib, filet mignon in one way for 75 cents. Filet mignon aux champignons, which is mushroom. I mean, how are you going to know that? This is in San Francisco. It's to say that they were expecting everyone to know what champignon is with their filet mignon. I mean, today, if you said To somebody in my town, would you like a filet mignon au champignon? They would say, what the hell are you talking about? Truffle sauce, roast tenderloin, and here we can have tripe stewed or Spanish style, which is intestine. Gross. Only 35 cents. So this and the roast ribs are the cheapest. Then we have a bunch of veal. Calf's head, calf's brain, breaded, tomato sauce. And here again, beurre noir. Calf's brains au beurre noir, which means blackened butter. So who is this menu for? Or are our origins different than what we've been told? Is this a menu from a different people in America? Again, from coast to coast, we see this super French influence as late as 1912. And it seems like the further back you go, the more French the influence. So really strange. What is America? What is American culture, as we've been taught that it is? Then we have some porks, and really using everything, using every bit, the knuckle, bratwurst here, like a sausage, pork chops, pig's feet in a deviled sauce, sauce piquant, spicy sauce. So the pork chops were breaded in a spicy piquant sauce. Again, nobody knows what piquant is. And just really interesting that it would be expected to be known. No translations, no nothing. No parentheses, spicy. Then we have eggs and omelets, all kinds. And no potatoes with the eggs. One of my favorites is just eggs and hash browns. And we don't see any kind of potatoage yet. And these days I don't eat potatoes because of the lectins as prescribed by Dr. Gundry. But I do eat sweet potatoes. And actually it's much better to have sweet potatoes. And I can make hash browns out of them. And then we have specials for each day of the week. And perhaps the drink menu was separate. Here again, the electric grill. So again, power is just starting out in this early time period. And here really boasting that this place is lit up. Otherwise, you're dining by candle. I'd rather sit on a patio. I mean, okay, maybe one could dine by candle. But imagine cooking by candle, which I have. I even have those kerosene lamps. I used to use them before my solar system was upgraded. And this was really interesting. In the past, I've trash-talked the Chamber of Commerce of all areas. This one is for Los Angeles, and they're having an annual banquet for the Chamber of Commerce, 1903. I think the Chamber is up to no good having a banquet like this in 1903. I mean, just not like the Chamber of Commerce we have today. So here again, filet of sole en something, I don't know, papilote, pomme à la militaire, potatoes, military potatoes, sweetbreads. Really interesting, like they didn't have regular bread, I noticed, but they had these sweetbreads that were cooked in lard. And sometimes some of the menus said no lard and no baking powder, which was really interesting. Even today I try to avoid baking powders and sodas. I brush my teeth with baking soda and coconut oil, but as far as swallowing it, it is like a byproduct of the aluminum industry. Shasta water, so it's like you couldn't drink the water anywhere, it seems like, because they always had, if they had water, they had spring water. And this coming from Mount Shasta, and not far from Los Angeles. Petit pois, which is little peas à la française. So here we go, petit pois. Excuse me, waiter, what is petit pois? I mean, that's how you'd read it, petit pois. Oh, that's petit pois, those are little peas. Why can't we have an English menu in Los Angeles in 1903? Here I thought this was interesting, the music score that they were going to play. And here, the Garfield Club, a little handwritten menu in 1910. Pudding and sauce, cake and ice cream, and coffee. Very important, even back then. Here, a menu of 1902. I wasn't planning on making the video this way. I was going to start at the beginning and not read backwards like my ancestors. Now this menu seems a little more American. Nice and American. It's fruits, grains, to be avoided in the Gundry diet. Toast, eggplant on toast, green pea omelette, beverages, milk, buttermilk, hot milk, caramel cereal coffee with cream. Interesting. Here, breads. You can just get a gluten stick or a fruit stick, graham stick, oatmeal stick, and really just a bunch of grains here on this menu. Where is this place? Oh, this is the Vegetarian in Los Angeles, 1902. The Vegetarian. That's interesting. 1902. No wonder it's so vegetarian, but you have eggs. Seem like they had milk. So kind of my kind of vegetarian. And that's about it. Dinner. Tomato and rice. Sanitarium baked beans. Ding. So that's really interesting how I said this is just very basic and seeming catering to the American. And look how they're speaking to the customer. Oh, those good old sanitarium beans, just like we used to have in the sanitarium. It's got to be 10 cents. Got to be in 1902. 10 cents. Lettuce with lemon, 5 cents. Fascinating. Now, there was something really interesting that I wasn't expecting, and it's here. Of course, when I saw this, I got excited. And these are two buildings at the World's Fairs, the Government Building and the Machine and Transportation Building. Copyright 1900 Pan-American Exposition. Exposition menus. Really fascinating. So, for dinner, tomato soup, oysters, deviled, filet of beef, mushroom sauce, eggplant, farci, scallop salad, and macaroon souffle, and coffee. Thank God, at least they have coffee at the World's Fair. Like I said before, it seems like the most boring thing ever, in this time period especially. So we have to wait for this meal? We just have to wander around hundreds of acres, and then this is what we get? No little booths, no churro or corn dog. No, you have to wait for a roast duck, sweet potato croquette, creamed spinach, mayonnaise celery. I mean, if I'm going to the fair, I need coffee on the hour. What is this? Where do we even have to go? So we have to go to the government building for this menu. This is it. This building was essentially built to serve this little menu. Here we go. Roast duck, little crackers and cheese. And here they're educating people on how to eat also. Culinary wrinkles suggest dainty dishes for dinners, luncheons, and chafing dish suppers. Sent free upon request. Armour and Company, Chicago. So here we go. Education. I'm going to teach them how to eat in Chicago. And here again, the Pan American Expo. And here we get grilled oysters, deviled cheese crackers, potato salad, or pate sandwiches. Pate sandwiches, really? Can't even get pate within 100 miles of where I live. But still, a very small and worthless menu for the World's Fair. The Electric Tower. Notice how this building is just floating in the water. Even out here, the ghost of a building floating in the water, like a shell. So here you go, 1900 copyright. Here we see Mark Twain, I can tell. The Dinner to Samuel Longhorn Clemens. Really interesting. A lot of clues. A lot of secret hidden clues in these menus. Chamber of Commerce again. 1899. Are you kidding me? Look at this. Look at this. Again, clues. State of New York. 131st Annual Banquet? In 1899? Come on. Not our 1899. Here we see a beehive or something. Or a hut, but it reminds me of the beehive, a Utah symbol. So I don't know if I'm doing this book any justice. Like 600 pages. This might take me years to go through at the rate that I'm going. But for me, it has already shown me something, and I hope you as well. Something unexpected in our past. I mean, think about your ancestors going back a couple generations. Is any of this typical? Filet mignon, béarnaise, jardinier, or gardener, gardener style. Potatoes parisiens, this would be Parisian style, but spelled in French. Again, truffles and chestnuts. We don't do chestnuts today. I don't think I know anyone who's ever roasted them on an open fire. I tried once. So green turtle, where are we here? We are at a hotel in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 1901. They're eating green turtle, oysters, and French gardener-style filet mignon. A little cheese, a little coffee, fruit, and cigars. How nice. Seldom do we see tobacco in dining establishments anymore. The last time I had a cigarette in a Burger King was 1996. Here we are at the Royal Blue Line, Central Railroad of New Jersey, Baltimore, and Ohio. The Royal Blue Line, 1891, was first-class luxury in the 1890s, and its menu was in the style of the finest land-based restaurants of the era. Bottled water came from New York, so I'm not sure where exactly this is. It may have just been a restaurant on a train, hence land-based and non-land-based restaurant. This here says between New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington. What do we have here? Celery and olives, terrapin soup, which they said is a sherry-based soup that was popular but left the American menus during Prohibition. Boiled rockfish, shrimp sauce, potato gratin, spring lamb with mint sauce. That's interesting. I seldom see a mint sauce. Sometimes at an Indian restaurant, like a mint chutney. Love it. Cauliflower, asparagus, string beans, sweetbreads, larded, financier style. So this is a thing. Sweetbreads larded in the financier style. Looks like lard was a new thing. And it would be because it requires processing and bottling. Siberian sorbet, really interesting. And what about the main meal here? I guess just roast beef or spring lamb. That's it. Oh, here we have duck with currant jelly. Charlotte Russe. Here they tell us about the Charlotte Russe. Originally a French molded dessert, in America became a simple sponge cake with whipped cream and maraschino cherries. Those fake cherries you get at the bar. I think they're real, but they've had the life sucked out of them. Strawberries and cream, orange and banana, and coffee. 1891. I'd like to go way back if we can. At the City Hotel. Temperance House by Brown and Tuttle. Really weird. The Palmer House. 1875. Chicago. Destroyed in the Great Fire. The rebuilt hotel. The Palmer House was much grander and safer. Hence the words, entirely fireproof, were predominantly printed on the menu cover. 1847 New York, the Irving House. The Irving House. This repurposed building. Now having a restaurant somewhere down here. And just the Irving House. But as far as the Palmer House, I mean, why are we even calling these houses? This is just stupid. We can see soup à l'anglaise already. Just strange. You see what I'm saying? Why do we need to say soup in the English style? That's what they're saying here. And we're going to write it in French, like it's for the French. I want a soup à l'anglaise. It's stupid. The American would sit down at the Palmer House in 1875 and say, waitress, what the hell is a l'anglaise? A l'anglaise. Oh, that's soup à l'anglaise. Don't you know? 1875 Chicagoer? So this tells me that they knew. They knew, like everybody was speaking both French and English, similar to parts of Canada, which is really fascinating. Entire people speaking both and not sure which one to speak because they're not sure about their history. And nor am I when I look at this. But anyway, wild pigeon, baked pork and beans. Now that seems nice and American. Frogs. Here we go. Frogs. Who eats frogs? Well, we know who eats frogs. Fried à la crapotine. I'm not sure what a la crapotine is, but nonetheless. And then we have Italian macaroni. So this kind of fusion, like something new is being created. Something from the old is being transitioned into something of the new. Here we see the Willard's Hotel for this thing. In Philadelphia, 1862. Horse and buggy all over the place. The Linden Hotel. Look at these hotels, like surrounded by dirt. 1863, St. Louis. Dinner. Soup of mulligatawny. No idea what that is. Boiled whitefish, chicken, leg of mouton and caper sauce, corned beef and cabbage, tongue, and that was just before we get to the entrees. Breast of veal, braised. Demi-glace or glacé has chicken, mouton chops, lamb chops, pig's feet à la menhould, curry of giblets with rice, calf's head à la vinaigrette, farina, fritters, lamb's tongue, and pork and beans. Then we have some roast items, and everything else seeming very basic. 1863. And are these legit? I question the legitimacy of everything. These very buildings. This very building was not the Fane Huell Hall Market, 1876. I don't think so. And this is the 50th anniversary. I mean, really? 1826 to 1876? This was the market? And a banquet given by the Merchants and Manufacturers of Cincinnati, 1870. Come on. The lavish banquet for merchants and manufacturers of Cincinnati included oysters that were shipped by stagecoach. Really difficult to read this one. Broiled sweetbread. Pâté de foie. That's just a condiment. You just have pâté as a condiment. Ornaments of flowers. French nougat, which is like that Toblerone. Those little chunks in that kind of chocolate. Here we go. San Francisco. 1869. Christmas dinner at the International Hotel. Chicken Colbert à la reine in the Queen's style. La reine. Puree of celery à la crème. Fish, carp. Ugh, carp is so gross. But maybe when it's prepared à la Chambord, I don't know what that is. It may be wonderful. Cold boar's head. Gelatin de veau and jelly. Waiter, what is de veau? De veau is like veal. Gelatin veal and jelly. More gelatin on the jelly, yes. A lot of jellies and tongues and hams and boar's heads. San Francisco, 1874. And that, again, was just like an appetizer. Here we go with the entrees. Filet of pork, quail à la provençale of the country or province. Chicken salad, fowl, tamed rabbit with mushrooms. I think tame rabbit would be tastier than wild rabbit, which is very gamey and gross. Mallard duck, lamb cutlets, and a bunch of pastries. Custard pudding, sounds tasty. Beets, just really basic, like you should just be happy to get, and I would, of course, just be happy to get something, but not paired together like in a salad or something, just turnips. Like I'm going to order the mutton, and I'm going to have turnips, and a custard pudding, and I don't see coffee, but I'll have a coffee with cream. I don't think they're going to give me cream. I don't think they have a refrigerator. I mean, it's probably all in some cellar somewhere. To be safe, you would probably just eat out in winter when you would know that everything was nice and cold. Here we're seeing the champagnes in this time period. Extra dry Cabernet. And here we see another strange banquet. I mean, the banquet is just seeming so shady. Look at all this for this banquet. Cleveland, Ohio. Army of the Cumberland. I mean, how un-army is any of this? Even these buildings. That was Cleveland. Here we see Hotel Nantasket, 1881, Boston. Look at this hotel. Nobody built a hotel within 30 feet of the ocean. No. What we can see is that this building looks like a mud flutter. See windows here. And what they had to do is build boardwalks, wood stairs going up. Just a bad idea. Just a bad idea to build a hotel so close to the water with tides, with windows and basement levels. Just ridiculous. New Orleans. So this is a restaurant on this steamship called the Empire State in 1883. Here we can see that meals cost $1. Table water from the Solorian Springs, Waukesha. And this appears to be New York and Chicago, Pennsylvania line. So this is another train restaurant. This is a wine menu. It looks like $2 for a pint, $3.50 for a quart of champagne, a bottle of Hennessy brandy, $3, and this is a pretty strange menu. 1884, the National Republican Convention, a special train over picturesque B&O, and this is just weird and creepy. This devilish Cupid angel character holding up the electricity wrapping around the fake globe. I'll put a girdle around the earth. In quotes by Puck. Who is Puck? Look at this. This is weird. The Palmer House. Look at the Palmer House. Horse and buggy down here. And this absolute mind blower. Chicago. American, Europe, and European plans. 850 rooms. And here I think is the menu. The Palmer House, 1885. Blue Points. And again, Anglais soup. Anglaise. English soup. So again, 1885, Chicago. Seems like we're speaking to a French person and presenting English soup. What is English soup? I would love to know. Salmon and hollandaise, leg of mouton. I'm not sure what that is. Spring lamb, roast beef, calf's head, fried frogs. Again, à la crapotine. Sweetbreads, à la jardinier, at the gardener. Roast duck. Siberian punch. How interesting. So now, I don't know what that is actually. Maybe that's what they recommend you drink. Roast duck, fresh lobster, and again, very plain vegetables. And a steamed plum pudding in a cognac sauce. Macaroons. Biscuit glacé, like a biscuit ice cream. 1885. And this menu, I mean, again, having owned a coffee shop, what a hassle to create a new menu for the day. This is for Sunday, May 17th, 1885. This menu will require me to use my magnifying glass. Boudin blanc. I'm not even sure what that is. Blanc is white. I'm not sure what boudin is. Potato soup, mutton broth, Union Railroad ticket office, Chicago, Monday, March 7th, 1887. An extra charge will be made for dishes ordered which are not on the bill of fare. Thoroughly fireproof. So everyone was afraid of fires, it seems. 850 rooms in a mind-blowing Antiquitech building, horse and buggy. And that's enough of that. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry if it sucked. I love you all. God bless, and I'll see you soon.